This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning, Rabbi. We're learning Sefer Chagai. We're learning Parak Aleph. And Chagai's first nevuah was in the second year of the king of Daryavesh, which Rashi learns. Do you have a Chagai for me? The small one with the Malbim?
Is the small one? I have that one.
That Chagai's first nevuah was in the second year of King Daryavesh, and the nevuah was to rebuild the Beis Hamikdash. Now, Rashi pointed out that even though they started building the Beis Hamikdash in the days of Koresh, but it was put to a halt, and then 18 years later, 3 years of Koresh, and 14 years of Achashverosh, and this is the beginning of the second year of Daryavesh, the son of Esther. The Beis Hamikdash is being built. So the Navi tells Yehoshua, Kohen Gadol, and the Navi tells Zerubbabel, you say that it's not the time to rebuild the Beis Hamikdash, but Hashem says it's the time for you to sit in your paneled homes, and it's the time for you to build your big mansions. Well, that you had no problem doing, and yet you did not build the Beis Hamikdash. And you should have taken a lesson from all the tragedies that have been occurring, that the Rebbeinu Shalom is not pleased with your actions. Okay. So last week we had the following question, and that is, how could the Rebbeinu Shalom have tainus on Klal Yisrael for not building the second Beis Hamikdash? After all, in order to build it, you need the word of the Navi. The Navi has to tell you to build it, because you didn't have most of the Jewish people on their land. So until the Navi tells them, they can't build it. So they can't build it, what do you want from them? There's nothing they could do. Okay, so I just want to share with you a very important idea, that when it comes to the Beis Hamikdash, that it says in Parsha Re'eh, Ki el hamakom asher yivchar Hashem Elokeichem lachem mikol shivteichem lasem hashemay sham l'shichnai sidreshu uvasa shama. Right? Ki el hamakom asher yivchar Hashem Elokeichem mikol lasem hashemay sham l'shichnai sidreshu uvasa shama. So we once mentioned from the Malbim that there's a steer in the pasuk, that if the Makam Hamikdash can only be identified by the Navi, so what do you mean l'shichnai sidreshu? That you should seek it out. What do you mean you should seek it out? Seek out what? There's nothing to seek out until the Navi tells you where to build it. There's nothing you could do. Nothing you could do. So what do you want? What do you mean l'shichnai sidreshu? The beginning of the pasuk is El hamakam asher yivchar Hashem. Hashem has to choose the place. So if Hashem has to choose the place, what do you want from my life? Why are you telling me l'shichnai sidreshu that I should seek it out? It's not dependent. Let's say I say, I like that area. Hashem says, it's very nice. So you build your Beis Hamikdash there, and I'll let you know where to build my Beis Hamikdash. So the Malbim says like this.
Did Moshe Rabbeinu tell Bnei Israel at Makam Hamikdash from the video?
No. So the Malbim says like this. The Chamakam Kari Makam Hamikdash Makam Asher Yivchar Hashem. The Beis Hamikdash is always called the place that Hashem chose. Why? Ki nizvada al yedei Navi. Because it was notified through the Navi, Shehu Makayim Hanivchar, that the Navi relates that this is the chosen place. Like the pasuk says, Vayavai God el David. God came and notified David. Until God told David, they had no idea where to make it. The same thing with Har HaMoriah. Asher nira leDavid avihu. But even so, even though David had no idea where to make it, we find that David was looking for it. Like the pasuk says in Tehillim, Ad emtza makayim lashem. Mishkanois la'avir Yaakov. David HaMelech says, Im avai ba'ay al beisi, Im ele al eres yitzuai, Im etein shnas la'enai la'af ha'poi tenuma. What's after that? Ad emtza makim lashem. David HaMelech says, listen carefully, this is exactly what we're learning in Chagai. Im avai ba'ay al beisi, I will not come into my house. Im ele al eres yitzuai, I will not rest on my couch bed. Im etein shnas la'enai, I will not go to sleep. La'af ha'pai tenuma, I will not give slumber to my eyelids. When? Until when? Ad emtza makam lashem. Until I find a place for God. What do you mean until I find a place for God? But meanwhile, He hasn't told you where that place is. So in the meantime, go build yourself a nice house. No, you can't. You gotta like knock, bang down the doors, bang. Say, Rebbeinu Shalom, what do you want me to do? Where? You gotta beg Him You got to beg him. Don't say, yeah, well, in the meantime, when Mashiach's not here, I'll just, I'll sit back, kick back, and read the Wall Street Journal. No, you got to beg Hashem, Rebbe. I want to build the Beis Hamikdash, but I can't do it. So tell me what to do. Tell me what I need to do. Says the Malbim, he did not wait. David did not wait till the Navi to come. He learned from this pasuk in Re'eh shehadrisha he mashechoiker ba'atzmai limtzais hadavar. In other words, like this. Listen carefully. Limei lahem shlo yigala Hashem soidai ayidei neviav lohidia makam anivchar rakim yishtadlu bazev yirshu acharav. He's saying, well, Mashiach hasn't come, so Hashem hasn't told me. You know why He hasn't told you? Because you could care less whether it comes or not. The only way Rebbe Shem will ever tell any Navi to build the third Beis Hamikdash if people want to build it. And apparently, if God hasn't told us what to do, because we don't want to rebuild it. We have more important things on our minds.
Well, we had a majority of people here that didn't want to rebuild it either. So why was it told? It was still told.
That's why there's a taina on them. There's a taina on them. And we're going to see, they got a little bit of a message that they have to start. And once they start, then the Rebbe Shem will give them further instructions. So, this is the taina, what the Malbim reads the pasuk, L'shichna sidushu v'asa shama, that even though it has to be makam asher yivchar Hashem, Hashem will not be boicher b'Yerushalayim until there's something called Jerisha. The pasuk says, Tzion hi doiresh ein la. It says about Yerushalayim. It's Tzion. Nobody seeks it out. Says the Gemara, Meklal deboi Jerisha. You see from there, it needs to be sought out. Okay, so that's what we're learning in Chagai. And the Navi is telling Klal Yisrael, you should have woken up and smelled the coffee, even though it wasn't the Zman coffee. From the fact that things were not going well for them. 5 things. What were they? Look in Pasuk. Hey, B'yata now. Koi Amar Hashem Tzvaka. So says God. Simu levavchem al darchechem. Place your heart on your ways. All electronic devices need to be off and off the table and out of view. Thank you. Simu levavchem al darchechem. Place your heart on your ways. Think about your ways. What ways? Zratim harbe. You planted a lot. V'havei ma'at. And you produce very little. Normally, you produce more than you plant. Even if you produce a lot more than you plant, you're still in bad shape. You need to produce a lot more than you plant. I mean, if you take your seed has to be, the seed is a tiny thing, and it produces a very big tree. So the output is always greater than the input. And yet, in these days, they planted a lot, but they only produce very little. Achal, they ate, ve'en l'sava, they weren't satisfied. Now Rashi says, why did they plant a lot and only produce a little bit? Because of the Avera of Bikurim. Why did they eat and they were not satisfied? Because they were Mavatel the Menachos. Acho ve'en l'sava, they ate, they weren't satisfied. Shasai ve'en l'shafra, they drank and they weren't satiated. Rashi says, the taste of wine was removed because they were Mavatel the Nisachayayin. Lavosh, they wore clothing. The ain l'chaimla, it didn't warm them. You know why? Because they were mavato, the big day kahuna. Rashi says. The hamistaker, one who made money, what happened to it? Mistaker el tzor nachov, the money was put in a wallet with a hole in it. Now you can make a lot of money, but if your wallet has a hole in it, it ain't going to do you too good. Why didn't they profit? So for that, Rashi does not explain what the midah keneged midah was in terms of
losing the money.
Losing the money. So why did they lose the money?
Maybe they didn't handle the lishkas hagosos properly.
Maybe they were making it illegally.
Stop that. If it's enough, you don't make money.
We don't know why. It doesn't say.
Highly God school.
What is that?
Shimoni says
Tzedakah. Oh, so the Yalkut Shimoni says, but it's not the kind of thing that we could just guess. Well, I think it's this. You can't interpret why Kaliso is punished. You can't interpret why today, and certainly not back then. But Yalkut Shimoni says it? Okay.
Well, we have that by Yontif, right? You have 5 people that you take care of, and I'll take care of the 5 people from your family.
You wanted the small one? Should I call it?
Yeah, no, not this one. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, okay, good. Now, the Navi says like this.
So by not acting upon these building, they get punished for it if they
didn't do these things, so therefore they were punished. That these 5, what were they again? They planted a lot, it didn't produce. They ate, they weren't satisfied. They drank, they weren't satiated. They wore clothing, it didn't warm them. And the ones who made money, they didn't get profit. So again,
you need a Beis Hamikdash for this, no?
Right, they didn't. So the question is, when did they not do these things?
This was in Galus.
When did they have the last 52 years? They couldn't do these things the last 52 years. Yeah? So when is the taina on them that they should have done these things? Apparently, if you remember, we learned many times that the people who returned in the times of the second Beis Hamikdash were the old people who were around in the first Beis Hamikdash. Apparently, Hashem still had outstanding debt against them. Yeah, what was the outstanding debt? That when the first Beis Hamikdash was standing, they were not zahir in these halachas. So in other words, Rebbe Hashem said, I haven't forgotten about what you did back in the Beis Rishon. Back in Beis Rishon, you did not fulfill these halachas. And the fact that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed and you were in Galus for 52 years, well, we still have outstanding debt. It has not been taken care of yet. Okay? And so Hashem says in Pasuk Zayin, Kayamar Hashem Tzvakos, Simu levavchem al darchechem. Think about your ways. Now we learned from the Malbim that the reason why the people did not think the time had come is because they had a tradition that before the Geula comes, there's going to be like a thunder and lightning show. There's going to be extra supernatural miracles. And since they did not see that happen, they figured this was not the time. The Malbim says in Pasuk Beis that before the Geula, they had a tradition that there's going to be Moivsim B'Shamayim Ba'aretz, like Melchemes Gog u'Magog, and they didn't see that, so they figured the Mashiach, it hasn't come time yet. So the Malbim says on Pasuk Zayin, then now that you see that Hashem's not pleased with you because He wanted you to build the Beis Hamikdash, then the reason why, right? Remember the Diak of the Malbim? You say the time before the time hasn't come. Well, says the Malbim, the reason why the time before the time has not come, and that is, you need to do tshuva. For that introductory time to the Geula to happen, you need to do tshuva. So therefore, Kayamar Hashem, so says God, Tzvakos, Simu levavchem, place your heart, al darchechem, on your ways. Think about what you're doing. And if you do tshuva, listen to this pasuk, Alu hahar, go up to the mountain. The havei sametz, bring wood. Uvnu bayis, uvnu habayis, and build the house. The ertzaboy, and I will find favor with it. V'ikavdabai, and I will be honored by it. Hashem says, go up, bring wood, build the Beis Hamikdash, I will find favor with it, and I will be honored by it, says God. So what's Hashem saying? Go up and bring wood and build the Beis Hamikdash.
Didn't they not know the place?
What?
Are we back to where they didn't know the place?
No, they knew the place. This is already by Beis Sheni. They remembered where Beis Rishon was.
I thought
But
the Navi had to tell them.
the Navi told them already by the Beis Rishon, so that they knew. But what's Hashem saying? Go bring wood, build a house, and I'll be honored by it. It means like this. Don't delay the process. Don't say, well, you're building a Beis Hamikdash, so we're going to collect a lot of money, and we're going to build it like they're building by Hillcrest, these big, beautiful shuls.
Don't
right?
wait, just start
Just
right away.
start building. Don't wait until you get the best contractor and the best material and the most elegant, beautiful. Just do it right away. Just do it as soon as possible. So wait a second. What do you mean do it as soon as possible? Isn't it better to take your time and do a better job? Do it really nice. Well, in general, let's say you have a opportunity to do a mitzvah, and you could do it either zrizus right away, or wait, delay, and do the mitzvah b'hidura. What's better? Do you say zrizus makdim l'mitzvahs, or do you say mitzvah min ha'muvchar adif, hidur mitzvah adif? You ever hear that question before?
No.
One time we had a shiur on this question. What's better? Do we say Zriza Makdim L'Mitzvahs, or do we say Hidur Mitzvah Adif? And it's a machlokes between the Radvaz and the Chacham Tzvi.
I would say there's depending on what mitzvah it is.
Depends on the mitzvah. It depends how well you could do it. It depends how quickly you could do it. But there's a very well-known machlokes between the Chacham Tzvi and the Radvaz. What is greater, Hidur Mitzvah or Mitzvah Min HaMuvchar?
You get an esrik, and you're not going to get a nicer one. And Sukkot is coming, and you're waiting for the nicer one, and it doesn't come.
Right. Let's say you're in jail, Chas v'Shalom, and they'll let you out. You could get out either Tzom Gedalia or Yom Kippur. What's more important?
Let's say someone go back in.
Forget about in jail. Let's say you have a chayla. He could either fast Tzom Gedalia or Yom Kippur. Which one should he fast?
Yom Kippur. Tzom Gedalia comes first.
Maybe Tzom Gedalia. There's a reason Makdim l'mitzvahs.
Yeah, but
that's the shaila. But it's the Tzom
mitzvah. That's a deraisa versus darbanan.
It's a kind of doing it better. In other words, if I fast Tzom Gedalia, I won't be able to fast Yom Kippur. Yeah. Who says you'd be?
Alive on Tzom Gedalia too.
Today's Tzom Gedalia. Should I fast today or not? And what fast Yom Kippur?
Good question.
Let's say I could get out of jail today, or I could wait till Yom Kippur. In general,
are you going to have to come back between?
Yeah, one day off.
Oh, you have a day off. Oh,
in general, what do we say? Tzrizim makdimim l'mitzvahs. Doesn't matter what the mitzvah. Better do it now. Who says you'll have an opportunity later? In general, where do you see this idea? Right here, Chagai. Hashem says, don't delay, don't wait, you want to get better contractors, better material, better workers, just do it. Go up and do it. Okay?
Didn't they have to do the tshuva first?
What?
Didn't they have to do the tshuva? If they didn't do the tshuva, then it wouldn't be a ratzah. It wouldn't be erzah. We said before that Hashem had debts of the people from the first Beis Hamikdash that still had to be repaid. So until those people did tshuva, the debts weren't going to be repaid, right? So
the tshuva is to build. That's the tshuva. The tshuva is don't sit back and wait until Hashem gives you instruction.
Are you allowed to build until you did the tshuva?
Now
you didn't do the tshuva, you were back to.
Now Hashem's telling them what to do. Hashem's telling them to build. This is the tshuva. The tshuva is.
Hashem is the Chagai Navi.
Yes. Okay. So now, there's a very interesting thing in this pasuk. This is a very important pasuk, if not the most important pasuk to remember in Chagai. Because there's a missing letter in this pasuk. Alu hahar, go up to the mountain, v'havesam eitz, and bring wood, v'vnu habayis, and build the house, v'eretzabai, and I will find favor with it, v'ikavda, and I will be honored by it. But the word v'ikavda is missing a hey. Rashi says, from the Gemara Masechta Yuma Daf Chaf Aleph Amud Beis. This is a remez to the 5 things that are missing in the Bayis Sheni that were not in Bayis Rishon. What are they? Who remembers the acronym that we made up? Yeah? Asher, with 3 aleph. Eish, Urim v'Tumim, Aron, Shechina, Ruach HaKodesh. These are 5 things that they didn't have in the second Beis Hamikdash that they had in the first, right? The Eish from Min HaShamayim, the fire that came down from heaven, the Urim V'Tumim, the piece of parchment that had Hashem's name on it, that Hashem would communicate with the Kohen Gadol, and the Aron, which, by the way, they didn't even have at the end of the first Beis Hamikdash. 100 years before the first Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, Yeshua HaMelech hid the Aron in the underground labyrinth. He did not have the Shechina in the second Beis Hamikdash, and you did not have Ruach HaKodesh. Okay?
But you had Nevi'as. No.
You still had Nevuah, but you did not have Ruach HaKodesh.
Nevi'as greater than Ruach HaKodesh?
Nevi'as is greater than Ruach HaKodesh. Nevuah is different than Ruach HaKodesh. Nevuah is where Rebbe Shem gives a person direct message. In fact, when Rashi says that Kol asher toimer elecha Sarah shema b'koila, what does Rashi say? Mikan she'Avraham tafel l'Sarah b'nevuah. So the Netziv says, no, chas v'shalom. Avraham wasn't tafel to Sarah nevuah. How many times did Hashem give Sarah nevuah in the whole Chumash? Either 0 or maybe 1 word. You laughed. That's the only thing God ever told to Sarah in the whole Chumash. And Avraham, Hashem's always talking to Avraham. So to say that Avraham was tafel to Sarah b'nevuah, it's wrong. What Rashi means is he was tafel to her in Ruach HaKodesh. And these are 2 different things. Nevuah and Ruach HaKodesh. So there was no Ruach HaKodesh b'Hasheni, but there was Nevuah. We see there was Chagai, Zechariah, Malachi. Okay. So now, I'm very excited.
Kadosh Baruch Hu, if the Shechina wasn't there, what does Eretzebol mean? Hashem is going to be pleased by it, He's going to desire it, be happy with it, but yet not to the point where the Shechina will rest there.
Well, look, there are many Chazal. There are other Chazal that say there's Lo Zaza Shechina Mikosa Hamaravi. So there are many levels of Shechina. Kol Be'asara Shechina Sharia. So there are many levels of Shechina. When it says there is no Shechina, means comparison to the first Beis Hamikdash. Oh, so now here's the big question: why was there no Shechina in the second Beis Hamikdash? Why was there no Shechina? So I'm going to share with you something unbelievable. The Gemara says, Gimel mitzvos nitztavu b'knisasan la'aretz. Chazal Bnei Yisrael were commanded on 3 mitzvahs when they enter Eretz Yisrael. What are they? Lahamid melech, to make a king. And then what? Lahachver zara shel Amalek. And then, what? To build a Beis HaBechira. So the first thing you need to do in order to build a Beis HaMikdash is destroy Amalek. Now to destroy Amalek, who do you need? To build a Beis HaMikdash. The thing you need to build a Beis HaMikdash is you don't need a king to build a Beis HaMikdash. You need to destroy Amalek. You need a king to destroy Amalek. But it doesn't say you need a king to build a Beis HaMikdash. So you need to destroy Amalek. What do you need in order to destroy Amalek?
Minion.
You need what?
You need a king.
You need a king. But not any king. The king has to come from not David.
Why?
Has to come Ein, Esav, Neufel, Ella, Biyad Zaroshel, Yosef. Yeah? Or Rachel. That's why Shol HaMelech is the first Melech. He kills Agag, he kills Amalek. Oh, Amalek's gone! Now what can we do? We can build the Beis HaMikdash. In the times of Purim, times of Achashverosh. Yeah? By the way, I think tonight already. Tonight is
Shivas, Chamisha B'Shvat.
Tu B'Shvat. So already 30 days before Purim, so we have to start talking about Purim already. In the times of Achashverosh. What? Okay, Rabbi say. Everybody here is committing themselves that if they want to come into the room, the phone has to be off and in their pocket. Otherwise, yeah? Thank you. Away and in the pocket. Can't be out, it can be under the table, it can't be nothing. No texting while learning. It's a crime. Thank you. Okay, so why Achashverosh? What got into him that he wanted to raise up this guy Haman? I mean, he knows Haman's not a good guy. Achashverosh is not a complete shaita sheba'olam. He's not a complete shaita. Why would he raise up Haman? Okay, says Rabbi Yonasan Eibeshitz, because Achashverosh had this frightening nightmare that the next king of Persia is going to be a Jew. So that was very frightening to him. The next king is going to be a Jew. So he's thinking to himself, what's the only way to make sure that the Jewish people don't have malchus, that they don't have supremacy? We got to keep the Beis Hamikdash out of commission. How are you going to keep the Beis Hamikdash out of commission? Well, if in order to build the Beis Hamikdash you need to do what? You need to destroy Amalek. As long as Amalek is strong, there's no way to build the Beis Hamikdash. So Achashverosh says, you know what I'm going to do to prevent the next king of Persia from being a Jew? I'm going to promote Haman. That was Achashverosh's plan, Rabbi Yonasan Eibeshitz says.
That was the shiur you gave a couple of years ago.
I gave that last year. I think I gave it last year. Yeah. Yeah, I gave that last year. But Rabbi Yonasan, so, okay, if you remember, Rabbi Yonasan Eibeshitz said over there that, and that's why when he marries Esther and then he realizes that the next king is going to be his son, he says, okay, fine, who needs Haman anymore? I didn't realize the next king of Persia is going to be my son who's a Jew. Right? So that was the shiur we gave last year. But Achashverosh's plan was to promote Haman. Their way, Haman would interfere with the building of the Beis Hamikdash. So the first thing you need to do is do what? You need a king. The king will destroy Amalek. And once Amalek is destroyed, you can build the Beis Hamikdash. Now, why does Amalek interfere with the building of the Beis Hamikdash? Why can't you have Amalek around if there's a Beis Hamikdash?
The Hashem's name is not complete. Amalek is destroyed.
Good. If God's Kisei, his throne, is not complete, right? His throne, not only his name, right, and his throne. So the Beis Hamikdash is what? The Kisei of Hashem. Beis Hamikdash shel mata is mechuvan keneged Beis Hamikdash shel mata. So Beis Hamikdash is the throne of God. So long as God doesn't have a throne, there's no need for a Beis Hamikdash. There's no point in a Beis Hamikdash. So Amalek interferes with the ability to build a Beis Hamikdash. Okay. Therefore, in the times of Mordechai and Esther, when they killed out Amalek, that was the introduction, that was the hakdama to the binyan of the Beis Hamikdash. So really, the story of Purim is the beginning, the building blocks of building the second Beis Hamikdash. Because when they destroyed Amalek, now we could, and in fact, after they destroyed Amalek, Esther had a son, Koresh, and he gave word to, he had a son, Daryavesh, and in the second year, like we're reading in Chagai, the second Beis Hamikdash is being built. Okay. Comes along the Nachlas David. Nachlas David was Rav David Tevel. Rav David Tevel was a Talmud Muvak of Chaim Volozhiner. Yeah? And he writes in the Sefer Beis David. It's impossible to get. Anyone could get me the Sefer Beis David in here, out there. I'll be very grateful to you. Can't get a hold of it. Beis David. Even there's somebody who used to listen to Rabbi Bernstein Shiurim, and he got the drushes of the Nachlas David. Beis David, I don't know anybody who has. Okay. But he says like this. Let's take this a little bit further. If in order to build a Beis Hamikdash, you need to destroy Amalek, and in order to destroy Amalek, you need to be a king. Now, the same way, remember when Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai met Aspasianus Kezar, and he said to him, Shalom Aleichem, king! And he said, what are you calling me king? You're Chayiv Misa, you're not allowed to call me king. So Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said, no, you must be a king, because if you have the zechus to destroy Yerushalayim, I have a tradition, V'halavanoin, Be'adir Yipol, that Yerushalayim can only fall into the hands of a king. Why could Yerushalayim only fall into the hands of the king? Well, because if in order to build the Beis Hamikdash, you need a king to destroy Amalek, then in order to destroy the Beis Hamikdash, then it's Zel Umah Zel Asalakim, you also need a king in order to build the Beis Hamikdash. Okay? That's his extension. That if you need a king in order to destroy Amalek, to build the Beis Hamikdash, then you need a king to destroy the Beis Hamikdash as well. And therefore, in order to destroy Amalek, you must be a melech.
I'm sorry for bothering. If somebody blocked my car, I can remove 9946 Honda. Does anybody know?
9946.
So says the Nachas David the following: in the times of Shaul HaMelech destroyed Amalek very well as anyone could possibly, and that's why in that with that introduction they were able to build what? The first Beis Hamikdash. However, in the times of Mordechai and Esther, says the Nachas David, why was it so important that Mordechai and Esther became Mishneh L'Melech? Why did Mordechai have to become second in command to the king?
To build the bias.
Because if Mordechai doesn't have the status of a king, then he can't have the halachic capacity to be the front runner of destroying Amalek. It's only because he was Mishneh L'Melech Achashverosh. It's only because he had the status of assistant to the king, and Esther had the status of Malka. Through that capacity, that was recognized even halachically, that even though it wasn't Malchus Yisrael, you don't need Malchus Yisrael. You only need Malchus. And Mordechai had Malchus, and therefore he was the one who was able to spearhead the destruction of Amalek, right? How many Amalekim did they kill? 75,000. So once,
Those Amalekim that they killed?
they're all Amalekim.
They didn't kill them all.
Says Nachas David, in the times of Shaul, they killed them all out. Therefore, God's kisei was basically shalom. Therefore, you know what you had in the first Beis Hamikdash? Shechina, Ruach HaKodesh, Eish Min HaShamayim, Aron, Urim V'Tumim. But in times of Mordechai and Esther, where they only killed out a lot of Amalekim, but there were still a lot of Amalekim left. Therefore, the second Beis Hamikdash was missing many, many things. In exact proportion to how many Amalekim they didn't kill. That's how many.
Agag alive for one night.
Agag lived with the Behema. The Behema turned out to be an Adam in that guise, and they produced.
And was the Kisei Hashem complete? And if Agag was still alive and he was able to somehow
It wasn't. Look, Beis Rishon was not perfect, but it was 99% there. There you had these 5 things. But in the second Beis Hamikdash, why again? This is a very interesting thing. The Brisker Rav is medayek, right? What's Mordechai Yatzonei Amelech? What? Belvush Malchus. Chelas v'chor. V'atazav Gedav v'asar v'hayir Shushan. So why were they so happy? Big day Malchus. Oh, Mordechai's a melech. Now we could get going. Was he king for one day?
That Mordechai only rove people liked him. Not everybody liked him.
Look, he's also a rabbi, so what could he do? You know? But
in that case, rove is pretty good.
As good as you're going to get. But
you mentioned about the 75,000 in the
yeah, 75 Malaikim, yeah.
Where did they all come from?
They came from Agag.
Oh, you mean how so quickly were there 75,000? I mean,
quickly, it was 100 years later. They all came from Agag?
Right. So, I mean, Shaul, we're talking, this is at least 500 years before, right?
So they all came from Agag?
Yeah.
Before he killed him, before Shmuel killed him. That's correct. One night stand.
Zrizim Makdimin L'mitzvahs, right? Zrizim Makdimin. But this is a very beautiful explanation that I just saw Agavorcha yesterday, and I didn't even put 2 and 2 together, where he says very clearly that the reason why the second Beis Hamikdash was lacking a certain degree of Ruach HaKodesh, it's because the failure to kill out the Amalekim by Mordechai and Esther. And the reason why, and listen to what he said, it's not their fault. It's because you could only kill out Amalek in direct proportion to your Malchus. So Shaul, who was a full-fledged Melech, he was able to kill out Mosem. Mordechai's Malchus was Mishneh L'Melech Achashverosh. He was only second in command. Therefore, he was not able to kill out all the Amalekim, and therefore the second Beis Hamikdash was missing. See, I don't know if I should have told this to you, because this would be a good Wednesday share, but what could you do, you know? Maybe I'll do it anyway. What?
You only picked up one of the 5.
On Shechina? No, he does all 5 things. All of them. Yeah, he says like this. He says, "L'zois gam mechias zarish al Amalek hanasa yideim loinasa b'shleimus." The mechias Amalek was not a complete Chumash nasa sayidei Shaul v'David. Ki be'esa hi kemat nimach zichra mikol v'chol. In the times of Shaul, it was kemat completely wiped out. Olakach gam habayis hasheni ketana ergoi me'erech kedusha sabayis harishain ki chasru bai chamisha dvarim ha'ikarim v'hamukudashim. The 5 central matters of holiness were missing. Okay, and that's because of the fact they did not wipe out Amalek completely, but b'chlal the whole their attempt to wipe out Amalek was only through the kayach of Mordechai's malchus, and he brings down from the Briskerov that even in Shoshanas Yaakov, I can't help myself. Once Purim is coming, that's it. But in Shoshanas Yaakov, it says like this: Shoshanas Yaakov tells us in Beroisam Yachad.
Tchelas Mordechai.
Tchelas Mordechai. The Tchelas of Mordechai, and Tchelas is Doimeh le Yam Rakia Kisei HaKavod. They saw already the glimmer of Ribbon Sham's Kisei being restored. So we should be Zoicha to see the Kisei of HaKadosh Baruch Shalom and the Shmoi Shalom. In fact, the Sefer Charedim writes, on last week's Shiur, we didn't speak it out. Sefer Charedim writes, remember there's machlokes between the Rambam and Tosfos. Tosfos says, Yom Mekayim Zechiras Amalek once a year. The Rambam says every day. How do we Mekayim every day? When you say the words, L'shimcha Hagadol in Avarabba. There are many communities that have a minhag, that based on the Machzor Vitri, quoted by Tosfos on the Gimel Amud Aleph in Masechta Brachos, that when you say Yehei Shmei Rabbah, Yehei Shmei is Shem Yud Kei. The word Shmei is Shem Yud Kei. You're davening that the name of Hashem, which is now Yud Kei, should become Yud Kei Vav Kei. There are some who say when the Chazan says Miskadei V'Iskadei Shmei Rabbah B'Yom L'Yochzei, some people say the pasuk Ki Yad Al Keis Kam L'Chama B'Hashem Ba'Amalek, and then Yehei Shmei Rabbah is a tefillah that the Keis Ka should become complete. Okay, Shkayach.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.